Hey guys, Stef with Killer Sites. This is going to be a quick video, sort of intro to me. So just in case you don't know, I sort of touched on some of the things about me in the past. So the video channel, this YouTube channel, is more or less a hobby for me. It's also a promotional thing. I'm sort of getting the word out there about what I do. My main concern, though, these days is I help schools get code into the classrooms. That said, I've been coding since 1994, worked on many apps, including apps for publicly traded companies. In the last several years, though, I've been much more of an architect, and I sort of manage coders and manage my own projects. So I don't do freelance personally anymore, but I did it for years, and the rules of freelancing are pretty much the same. So I keep on I've mentioned a few sites. So let me first start with killersites.com. So if you look here in this book, killersites.com. Now, I didn't write this book. David Seagal wrote this book. Now, this book, by the way, was like one of the best-selling books in web design in the 90s, if not the best-selling book. I think it was published in 19 languages and stuff. Anyhow, so I took over the site, killersites.com. I took over editorial in about year 2000, something like that. And I've been developing courses and writing about coding since that time. I developed my first video course, I think it was in 2003. So that's killersites.com. You know, it's a site that it's still there, it's still up and running, and I keep it up to date a little bit. But I've moved on to institutional work, so I'm not as religious with it, if you will, as I used to be. Although we still get a couple million page views per month with that site. It's not bad. So last year, 2015, I wrote this book. This is my book. I wrote this last year because the publisher asked me to. And it's still in bookstores all across North America, Europe, and you can get it on Amazon as well. This is a beginner's book on web design, and I touch on, it's HTML5, CSS3, beginner's book, and the big picture. I also touch on things like jQuery, I touch on Bootstrap. Again, it's a beginner's book. It's designed to get you up and running, to give you a big picture, and get into the most important aspects of coding. That's the thing about teaching coding or any subject, is you got to figure out what the important aspects of the subjects are. So with HTML, what are the important aspects? CSS, what are the important aspects? Because if you know HTML and CSS, if any of you do especially HTML5 and CSS3 and JavaScript, they can get to be pretty big subjects. So if you were to sit there and try to teach every single tag in HTML and every single rule of CSS, it would be pretty hard on the head, especially as a teacher. So the key is when you're learning any new subject and teaching any new subject, is to figure out the key elements of that subject. What are the fundamental principles and techniques that really matter? And because we're lucky enough to live in the age of Google, where you forget a particular CSS rule, you forget a particular HTML tag, you forget a particular library in Java or something. You can just refer to it, go to Google, type it in, boom, you get your answer, and that's it. So there you go. That's a little bit about me. Instead of getting into a lot of detail about DevOps and details, how to create this type of app in Java or PHP, and although we do have some of those courses, I spend more of my time on the business end and the practical end of coding, something that my over 20 years of experience developing apps in one form or another has taught me. And so that's what I concentrate on this channel. There's plenty of channels on YouTube where you can look up, how to do a responsive site. You get a lot of piecemeal stuff. My courses provide a very holistic, from A to Z. I make it easy for you. And when I teach code, I teach much more than just the code. So for instance, just in HTML, it's important to not only understand what a tag is, but you have to understand the HTTP model, the request response model, servers versus clients, how that works, et cetera, the tools that web developers use, like code editors, the developer tools built into the browsers, different server types. These are the type of things that are actually important. So just learning how to write HTML code and CSS code, JavaScript code is a start, but you have to learn all these big picture issues, and I touched on a couple of them just now, before you can really, understand the subject and use the coding languages properly. So, you know what? I think now we're going to close this video with my new suggested album. I'll be right back. All right, to end this video, here is my new suggested album. I don't know if you can see it here. It's Donny Hathaway Live. This is one of the best live albums I have ever heard. It's 1970s soul. This guy died when he was 32. He was a manic depressive, I think, and he jumped off a building. But he recorded a couple of shows in some small venues in, I think it was in California. Anyway, amazing concert. And, I have a wide range of tastes from, Led Zeppelin to jazz to a bit of soul, prog rock, all kinds of stuff, Nirvana, yada, 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 yada. So this is like one of the best live albums I have ever listened to. It's really, really good. Yeah, it depends on your taste. It's kind of soul, it's kind of swings. But again, this is a hugely influential artist, though he died in this, I think it was 72. A big fan of Donny Hathaway was Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse was a huge fan of Donny Hathaway, and I think she covered like 2 or 3 of his songs. 2 or 3 of his songs she covered. So great album. One of the most important artists, I think, in the last 50 years. Highly recommend it. Very different from Ziggy Stardust or David Bowie. Totally different type of music. So you may or may not like it. All right, that's it for now. Ciao.